today we have a very special session for you. In the past, we have been running webinars using panel discussions to present to you the kind of important topics that we think we need to be talking about. But today we're bringing you some global best practice in the context of some case studies of companies who have been doing some of the most successful ways in relation to Gen Z. This is a topic that, if you're familiar with our previous YouTube videos and LinkedIn content, you'll know that the intergenerational differences, the diversity within age demographics is something that's very important to us at RDI. And so for that reason, we have put together this session as a special presentation of global best practice in regards to the engagement of Gen Z. This topic, this session will be having a live Q&A towards the end. So please do let us know if you have any questions. We'd love to hear from you. And we can address those towards the end. Let me now come to introduce our guest speakers for today's session. Myself, Gordon Dudley. It's great to have everybody with us on this session once again. And today, two very special guests who I have been in contact with for a few months now, and who actually are particularly interesting when it comes to talking about Gen Z, because both of them are Gen Z themselves. And so let me introduce, first of all, Gloria and also Christina, who are with Yeet Solutions, who have been out in South Korea in the last few months, and who have some very interesting perspectives and insights that they would like to share on this particular topic. So Gloria, let me first come to you, and I'll let you introduce yourself.
So, hello, I'm Gloria. Maybe I will do an introduction of both of us, because we've been following the past 3 years the same path. We started studying a degree in Spain called Leadership, Entrepreneurship, and Innovation, and that's where our paths start to be as teammates and also as teampreneurs. And we started a year ago a generational consultancy focused on TikTok, as we saw that Instagram was left apart. So we said, okay, why not starting a consultancy on TikTok and help brands to grow on that platform? I don't know, that's where we started working together day to day, having a lot of troubles as personals and also professionals, struggling with university, with the market, and I don't know, we've been in a lot of experience together, and we want I don't know if Christina wants to talk about her experience too in this career, but we're here to talk about, in special, our 3-month stay in Korea, and how we see it, I don't know, the brands there, the Gen Z, Korean Gen Z, and global trends.
Yeah, so basically our goal, as Gloria said, in Korea was to get to know businesses, like how is the business environment there, and get powerful Gen Z insights in order to advise the next companies we work with. So these 3 months have been like a lot of research, a lot of meetings with businesses and with Gen Z people to get to know how businesses are getting to them, and how we can also help them connect with them better.
Thank you so much. It's great that you can join us for this session to share some of your insights. You know, I always like to tell people in RDI, you know, I a millennial, kind of sitting in about the middle of the workforce, if we look from the youngest to the eldest generations. And so I have one foot in the most senior type of managers who are in organizations. At the same time, I did only graduate in 2005. So at the same time, I also have that kind of awareness and connection to across the generations. But it seems to be something that continues to be a source of conflict, not just in Korea, but all around the world. And so that's why we wanted to, talk about this particular session, this topic, as it is. As we're going to kind of get into more details, we're really seeing a kind of convergence, if you like, of marketing and user experience, and how that is overflowing into candidate experience, if we're talking about hiring, and even employee experience, as an employee who's maybe using and consuming the products and services of their company, and also their social media life as an employee, and how companies can kind of use that. And so that's where this marketing kind of driven approach and the awareness of the user experience is so important, and why I thought it would be great to talk about this today. From your perspective, when we start talking about how brands are successfully approaching into Gen Z, are there any particular things which you feel have increased, dramatically, which are somehow different to the past in the last few years?
Yeah, I think mainly businesses are listening more to Gen Z and like listening to their demands and what they need from brands. And I think the main thing is that they know they just can't sell just one product. They need to sell the brand. So Gen Z wants to know what is behind a big corporate, who is behind every post, who is behind every campaign. So like being able to get close to Gen Z, listening to them instead of just selling, that they need to listen to them. And I think the main change is the step to talking about Gen Z and talking to Gen Z. So I think that's the huge change that has been made.
Yes, and talking also about talking to Gen Z and talking with Gen Z. Now we've been listening a lot of community building, and I think that's very important in brand awareness, not just to here is my brand and that's what I sell to you, but also a construction of the brand in like a co-creation of that brand with the consumption. Like Gen Z and also millennials doesn't want to be fit in a brand that sells the products or their values, but also want to be part of that creation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And it comes down to that keyword of engagement, right? And I think that's something that brands are craving. They're seeking that engagement. That's what they're measuring as much as possible in how they go about the excuse me, how they go about their marketing strategies and outreach and brand building. So let's get into another level of detail and get even more specific about something that's so important for every company right now: social media awareness. I mean, speaking from the HR side of things, the very first thing that candidates do when they are considering a job or a new position at a company is check the social media. The .com website is dry, usually doesn't have a lot of useful information. What we find is that candidates more and more want to know how is the company present on social media. So from your perspective, both as experts and researchers in this area, what are some of the things which you're seeing with regards to social media awareness?
I think mainly like social media as it is, and social media awareness is a very powerful tool to not just show the what we do as a business, but also show why are we doing it, who is doing it, and like show a more human perspective of a big corporate as it is. So I think that's a very powerful tool to show like not just the surface of a business, but why, I don't know, why should I want to work there, or why should I like this brand?
When you say that word of humanized, I immediately think of some of the companies on Twitter who will who actually engage with their competitor accounts and develop a kind of character within that corporate Twitter account. Clearly they are reacting to moments, events happening, things coming out, announcements. So it's incredibly quick, but it allows people to feel, like you say, that human element. What about this issue of convergence? The brand as as a product, as a service, but also as an experience. What do you see in that area?
I think it's like a very good point of not showing as if you were in the street. No, as you in the street, when you go across a shop, you can see the product and you don't know, like you can see maybe the person that can attend you, but in social media, for sure that there is someone behind that screen. So that someone behind the screen has to show off and has to show that there is a person, because we don't like to see a robot. We will not go to a shop with a robot only if we really wanted to go, like, oh, there is a new robot in this shop and we want to go, but we will not then like it to be a robot that talk to us, recommend us. We want someone that talks about their story, how do they like to work there, what do they do in the day-to-day. So I think the perspective between, I don't want to talk with a robot in a shop, I don't want to talk with a robot in my cell phone, that I even don't see the robot and I don't feel the experience of being with a robot. So yes, talking about experience, I think it's that community manager. Community management, I think, is the future of really brands. They have to be very, very special, and people has to be talking about that community manager.
Yeah, I mean, that's almost a job title that didn't exist not too long ago, and now what you're saying, and I fully agree, is that it's an incredibly important one. Whether a B2B or a B2C, right? It's that convergence requirement of bringing the inside employee experience out, showing those stories, sharing those personalized experiences, I think are leading to the brands which are being able to most successfully engage with Gen Z and other generations. Should we jump into a very practical and great example of successful social media awareness?
Yeah, sure. We have 2 examples of it.
Okay, yeah. Okay. We wanted to talk about Oreo as an example of a brand that has successfully engaged with Gen Z, because part of its success is due to its social media content, which includes information about product launches, partnerships with famous people, or just like innovative ideas. So over the last couple years, but especially months, Oreo has released like the limited edition packs with brands as S'mores, Ritz, or other cookies. Like as you said earlier, like it's the competition, but they they ally with them to make a partnership, and especially they collaborate with numerous celebrities, and that's why it has been a success, because Gen Z responds positively to celebrity product associations, because they want to be recommended by people of reference. They just don't want to have a recommendation by their best friend, but also a person that they know they need to recommend something they believe in. So I think that's the main thing that gave Oreo's its success, is like to choose well which celebrities or influencers or people of reference choose to recommend products to people. And I think like the brief point of this is that they have been able to reach the same target, that is Gen Z, but in different ways, like making its campaign unique and different from the previous one. So I think that's the main thing they achieved.
And I believe you've got a second successful case study as well in this particular area.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this case is the Washington Post, that it's a traditional newspaper that decided to get into TikTok in a big way, and the main key to their success was use their goal, which is to inform people through news, through pieces of news, in an entertaining and easy to consume way, right? So they created content exclusively for TikTok, and they took into account how the platform works and what people want, and they adapted their content 100% to the TikTok audience and to the demands the users were making, right? Sorry. And they basically humanized the brand, and they had a community manager, sorry, a manager that was the visible face of the brand in the platform, because they realized that Gen Z doesn't want just information, but they want to see who is giving the information, who is behind this big brand, and being able to see through a big company as the Washington Post is. And this also, like having a person that tells the news, or a face which you can identify the brand with, also like not only helps you gain followers, but also encourage people not only to like the content, but also to want to work there or to be interested in the business. So I think the main key to the Washington Post success, especially on TikTok, is that young people want to feel that brands are getting close to them, and that what the Washington Post is the largest and oldest newspaper in Washington, D.C., and they have managed to change the tone of their news, adding a bit of humor, but like maintaining its seriousness as a newspaper. But I think the main thing that they have done in TikTok is listen to the users and being aware of the changes in news consumption. Like Gen Z doesn't read physical newspapers. Now they read news on TikTok. So how this is a perfect example of how can a brand like adapt to their consumers and to different platforms in order to get to Gen Z.
Yes, and also it's more shareable, this content that a news, even if it's not offline, that it's like the newspapers that are now adapting to digital, it's easier to send a TikTok than to send a link, and then the person will not have time on their day to read it. But this is 30 seconds where you can learn what has happened in the US in 1 week, in 1 day, and they resume very, very fast and very. The thing is that it's audiovisual, that we are very audiovisual. We like to listen to things and to be watching that things that we're listening. And also that it's like it's fluent, it's like agile, and you can understand very fast the story. So I think that's also very good to grow, to know what people want to share. It's not just what they are going to like, but now for growing on social media, you need things that people want to share with their friends, with their family. And if not, if you only stay on views and on likes, you are not really engaging with a community.
Yeah, I think it's a great example of a successful transition of a relatively traditional brand. I'm sure their customers were of a certain demographic, and there's no doubt that I see that one post there with 4.5 million plays, on TikTok. That's a totally different demographic which they've been able to reach in what people branded, of course, newspapers as dead already for some time, but clearly they're having a total revitalization through their smart social media awareness and integrated campaign, and also, as you mentioned, the human element of it as well, with their community manager being front and center in their strategy. All right, well, thank you for presenting those two successful case studies. Let's move on to the next kind of key trend for engaging with Gen Z. And here we're looking at values-based marketing. This is something that, is not necessarily new, but perhaps it does seem to be gaining in importance. What are some of the things which, you feel have been changing in this aspect?
I think it's more that brands started to see that they are getting traditional, or they are not hoping on the train of what the new consumers will be in the future. So I think it's more of knowing the problem. So, okay, I'm not getting to Gen Z or to millennials. I need to adapt. So maybe I need to change my values. It's not doing more marketing with the same values, but maybe rebranding what we are doing, and then we will do marketing about it. And also in that rebranding, you have to think that there is not something that you're going to sell. So these are my values, but you have to be aware that people will want to hope also on that trend, on that value. And there we will be starting to talk about user lead generation content. So people are going to be ambassadors of your brand for free. You are not going to need to pay an influencer. You're going to have your own influencers, because we will love your brand, that we will be talking, sharing, commenting, and you will not need that influencer marketing, right? You will be more of a community where people talk about you, start posting posts with you. And there's where the big thing of marketing has evolved, is the challenges. Now on TikTok, it has exposed the things of doing challenges and really getting people to hope on that challenge, because on Instagram, on Facebook, there will be these challenges of doing a picture, and the best picture will be given a prize. And now it's not a picture, it's a video, creative video. You have to show off, you have to be the best actor you have in you, and you have to be part of the brand, right? So we have an example here of Axe, this brand that it's been recognized for masculinity, and that mans are the ones that have to be showing off to women, and that's something that Gen Z is, wait, what? How is that a man is going to be flirting with me and not me with him? And that's something that we don't want to talk about. And it's the thing of like, I don't know how you say, but like, it doesn't correspond to where culture is going. So Unilever said, okay, these brands or these brand values are not going to be something that Gen Z wants to talk in the future. So we have to rebrand. And what they did is a campaign where it was the hashtag of Praise Up. and you had to post something with saying something good of your friend, and with that hashtag. And it was originated from research conducted by AXE Canada. So they saw that these stereotypes of real men has to show up to women weren't really good values. So they changed everything, and they changed the stereotype about the tradition of gender roles. And it went very well. And now, it's not just a campaign. Then you have to be following that values. You cannot just talk about, I'm like this, I have very brand values, but you then have to keep going on your social media posting about talking about that things, and you have to find a way to fix that problem that you had.
I'm going to be devil's advocate and just ask a counterpoint question now. Values-based marketing, is that about companies just wanting to play safe and try to just be attractive to everybody, or is it something else?
I think in the past it may be to play safe, but now it's not as easy as it sounds. Like to really get to Gen Z through your values. Like we can know when it's real and it's not. Like Gloria said, because it's not just one campaign. Like we don't need brands to say, yeah, I'm eco-friendly, I'm whatever. They need to show it. So if like it's not words, it's acts, no? So if we really see this brand as the values that they tell us they have, it's as a success. But I don't think it's that easy to get to Gen Z, because they don't engage with us in a traditional way anymore. So you need to like work more and more on really how to get on the Gen Z's top of mind and really like get my values to them.
So it's more than just a campaign, and it sounds like something that companies need to work at yes, over time and really build up.
It has to be constant, right? And even it's worse if you do a campaign of I'm not into gender stereotypes and I want to break them, and then the next day you will do something that it's totally the different or the opposite that you were saying a month ago. That's even worse. So when brands want to do a campaign, it's because they really have done a job of research of what their consumers want to be, and they have to be aware that they don't want to achieve to go to the top of mind of every people in the world. They have to really focus on a topic, on a consumer's status or something, and they have to stick to it. And they really have to be aware not only on social media but also on the office, like working on that values everywhere, on the office, on the internet, on social media, on YouTube, like everywhere you have to be working on that values. And I think it's more of evolution, that something that you do, then you rework on another campaign. You have to be constant on that, and it will be a long way until people really connect with you with that and with that values. And you have to be working on your your marketing every day.
So it sounds like it is both something that needs to be consistent, but also authentic as well. That seems to be some of the most important factors. All right. Well, let's move on to our third main topic of today's discussion, which is talent acquisition. I mean, this is, of course, one which is so close to the core of RDI and what we do, as we feel that there needs to be a shift in employer branding, that companies need to really start as soon as possible, if they want to be out there to be able to acquire the best possible talents, then that employer brand needs to start being built today. but it's not going to be an overnight kind of thing. Related to our topic just now, it's a constant brand building, authenticity and message, along with social media, of course, that we covered in the first section. When it comes to talent acquisition in regards to brands successfully engaging with Gen Z, what are some of the things that Gen Z are feeling when it comes to companies reaching out to them and trying to hire them?
Right now, there is a lot of fear, like this is global, it's not just Korean Gen Z. Everyone is feeling uncertainty, rapid change. Like we've seen now with COVID that you can change very fast, like everything can, like the world situation can change in a day. But also your needs and your motivations can change. When we talk about our parents, they've been in their same company maybe for 10, 15 or 30 years, and our grandparents for almost all their lives. And now we are talking more about we want to change, to experience new things. So there is also this fear of, I don't want to stay in the same company for as long as 10 years, but I want to grow also in my career. So I think what brands have been thinking is, okay, this is a reality. Gen Z don't want to stay in my company for 30 years or for 10 years. So I have to understand them and be to create these employee ambassadors. So I want them to post on their LinkedIn, on their social media, that they had a very good experience on my company, that they were the best 3 years of their life. They learned a lot. They were with the best team, but they are going to change because they want change. We want change. So it's not something bad that we leave a company. It's just that we need change, and that's our perception of the real world and the professional career. So I think it's very important for the brands to be that that professional that brings them to be better professionals, and that example leading them to be talented. That it's not only talent acquisition, but also talent management. What are you going to do with these 3 years of this person, and how are they going to remember you and talk about you to their sons, to their friends, or to their family? And that's also branding and marketing.
I think that's an absolutely great point that you've made there. Everyone talks about alumni networks, right? When we graduate, we are immediately part of an alumni association. That's something that's very actively managed by educational organizations, but somehow when it comes to professional workplace, not so much. I even am reminded of one of the first companies that I joined, and we were told very early on that if you leave, you can never come back. It's one time only. And so, of course, my perception was kind of reduced in this company. Well, what is it that would make me want to be that ambassador, right, for this company, which is basically saying, once you leave, you are no longer part of us. You're no longer to be associated with us. And I think that's what you're talking about is a much more enlightened view, that actually staying a short period of time is not necessarily bad, but let's try to get the most out of it and ensure that there's an ongoing relationship and benefit beyond the direct employment. Christine, I think you wanted to come in there.
Yeah, I wanted to just say like a brief point that occurred to me when Gloria was talking, is that I think the main thing Gen Z needs, like when they're looking for a job or being interested in working in a specific company, is like to have an authentic perspective of what would it be to work there. Like, as you said earlier, when you're looking for a company, you look for their website and what do they do, what are their values and everything. But I think this related to social media can be very useful to like have an employer branding strategy and as a company show what is really work, like what is really being a part of that company, and that you can imagine and like dream of what can you do there, or what is already being done there. Like not just see the website and see what this company has done, but really have a real and authentic perspective through the employees of the company, for example.
This kind of a day in the life of stories that allow us to see so much more than just the job ad that might tell us.
Yes, there is a lot of fear also of they are telling me I'm going to do this, I'm going to be paid this amount, and what people promise on LinkedIn or on the interviews. And then there has been a lot of cases that you really don't have that situation, or you don't learn what you were expected to learn, you don't grow as you were expected to be on that company and on your own knowledge. So there is this fear because there have been these experiences like lived. So then, as I said, as in marketing, if you say that you are sustainable, then you have to be really sustainable on your office. So it's the same. If you say this person is going to learn this, grow on that, and be part of this team and has these responsibilities and be paid of that, like you really have to also do it and be part of that person's career. And really, it's not like when you leave, it doesn't have to be a goodbye, but like I am part of this community. As when you leave college, you are part, like you will be part of that, and you are this student that studied that. So it's the same way. You have to be proud of what companies you have worked for.
Yeah, I think you raise a great point. This mismanagement of expectations. You know, I do a lot of recruiting in Korea, and the number of candidates that I speak to who are looking to leave their current organization after 1 month, 2 months, 3 months because they've started, and what they have been put in charge of, or the area that they've been given, is entirely different to the expectations which they were told in the process up front. And it's only natural that if you're expecting XYZ, you start working at a company, you find out it's actually entirely different and nothing like that. You're going to feel totally disenfranchised. You're going to feel disengaged. It's not what you signed up for. It's not what you're expecting. And often people put a lot of time and energy into the process. I think that's often a little bit disregarded, that the job hunting process is so time and energy consuming, and so it really relates to personal brand, right? I mean, we talked about brands being authentic, being human, and so when you are putting yourself, your personal brand, to that company, that has you have to be satisfied that your personal brand is going to be enhanced by joining that company, which I think is also something that's stronger for certain generations. Shall we look at a successful case study in this particular area?
Yes, sure. We have just an example of Red Bull that is very known for adventure and trying yourself and all that kind of things. But there is also a part of Red Bull that, well, they wanted to hire new people. So they didn't do LinkedIn or interviews or anything. It was called Red Bull Wing Finder. Okay, so the wings are very known for Red Bull giving you wings. So now they were giving wings to candidates. So they wanted to do a personality test, and like it was all about very gamificated. So they did a lot of tests. It was like a community building. I don't know, they had like a lot of things, and they wanted not just if you weren't hired to Red Bull, they want you to also know your skills, your personality, how you can fit. They were also like a part of learning how you can be in the future or in your professional career. So you, even me, I can do now the test, even if I don't want to go and work for Red Bull, I can do it, and I can know how are my skills, what the market is demanding. And I think that's very cool that a brand just not show off and try to hire people for their company or to sell their products, but also give value to the consumers, right? So it's a very good example on human resources marketing, that they give value to the people, and that maybe they are not going to be candidates of Red Bull, or maybe they are not hired because there are not so many places to work on the company, but then just to give them that perception and like to give wings to their career. They will remember Red Bull, they will talk about Red Bull, they will talk about the campaign, they will talk about how they are what the results of the personality test or the skills test. So I think it's very, very cool for Gen Z to gamificate things and also to show off value just by being like it.
Definitely. No, I think it's a great example. I mean, that's so shareable as well, right? You know, a free strengths assessment or personality assessment that they have there, and all of a sudden, people are now thinking of Red Bull as an employer. So an absolutely fantastic exercise in employer branding as well, and brand consistent, as you mentioned. The wings is something that's been part of their brand message for so long now. So I think a great example that you bring there. So that's the main topics that we have covered. I'm based in Korea. You've had an experience over in Korea, seeing how things are. Some of the things which we've discussed today can, of course, are global trends. Some of the things are a little bit more Korea specific. What would be some of the kind of key points which you've found to be different between the Korea case and other global markets?
I think more in the global aspect, more than in Korean, is that relevance and speed are more important than ever. Like being able to identify trends and adapt to them, like not also as a consumer, but also as a brand. Because as we said earlier, the user-generated content, like the trends, start from people, not from companies. So as a brand, you need to be able to know what is going on, like not only on social media, but in the world, in your industry and everything, and being able to give your, like with your brand identity, like jump on that trend like in your own way, so I think like now today a trend is created, but tomorrow maybe everyone is forgetting about it, and you need to be able to get onto the next thing and really have speed and being able to know what is Gen Z interested in every day. So I think in our experience in Korea, we think Koreans, Gen Z Koreans, follow like Korean trends, like not as interested as in global trends, but they're more focused not only on global trends, but in their specific Korean trends. But for example, in Europe or the US market, they're like more interested in global trends, not as the country as itself.
And, the speed element that you mentioned there, that's something that Korea is famous for. And I know a lot of brands are using Korea as a kind of key foundation market to the rest of Asia. Does that mean that brands are trying things new or doing things differently in Korea? Is there any experimentation that you've seen?
We've seen, like, what shocked us now from Europe going to Asia, it was, I don't know if it's more of Korea or the rest of Asia, but I think as we've been talking to a lot of young people in Europe, we just buy Nike shoes, Adidas shoes, and we just buy them like they come as they come. But in Korea, in all the shops you go of big brands of shoes or purses, or even how do you say, like for the phone cases, AirPod cases, it's very like you can personalize, you can add stickers, you can add paintings, and it's something like a corner of the shop that is dedicated to personalize and customize your shoes or your purse or everything. And that's in Europe, like there is starting to be something like that. Online shopping, you can customize some things, but in Korea it was like very user experience going to a shop. We really wanted to go to the shops to see how you can customize. You have a lot of examples, you see a lot of people buying it in Spain. Here, if you set a corner of personalizations, I don't think people will actually go. Maybe the artist ones, like the people that are more into art or to customize and they like these things, but regular people will not go. It will not be general, and I think it's very cool that brands in Europe are starting to adapt to that. But I think, yes, Korea is an example, and it's starting to be a leader in some niche and some yes, and so with K-pop, I think it's like the most thing that it's going on, like we know from Korea, and it started to be so international that hey, I think Korea is going to be like the new reference of Asia.
For sure. And so I guess, I mean, that's why we've seen so many more collaborations, brand collaborations coming out of Korea. So, this headline here, want to get through to Gen Z minds. So, from everything that we've talked about, what do you consider to be the most important elements for brands when it comes to engagement?
I think the main thing, and it's something we have already talked about since the beginning of this webinar, is like not to, like, Gen Z no longer buys products; they buy from brands. Like they're loyal to brands. So I think the main thing that is so important to get through Gen Z minds as a brand is to be a brand with purpose, and that, like we said earlier, like not just do a campaign to have a good image as a business, but to really be authentic as a brand. And that's the main thing that Gen Z is going to really get from you, like you can't fake authenticity. So I think that's the main thing, that it's so difficult to do, because Gen Z is, well, we as a consumer are like so changing so fast and everything, but that is the main challenge to get to Gen Z and to being authentic, because that's something you can't fake. So that's really something you need to work on every day, as Gloria said earlier, and to be constant about it.
Yes, and also that it's not just copying the trends that are going on, because we really don't like to see a brand that tries to copy, and maybe it's not, maybe you reach it and we get it and it's cool, but some, like, because of the time we don't like that copying, we like creativity. So really the trend is creativity, is brands that have their values, but also they want to show that values with creativity. And that's what we are really going to appreciate. Not that you are copying an influencer trend, but that you are really having your essence and you are showing off with really authenticity and creativity. I think it's like the main trend that is going to stay for a long time.
I think some really important points that have come out there, and illustrated with good examples across different types of areas. I think it's been really good to have this discussion. I think there are a lot of implications for companies when it comes to their positioning and their marketing strategy, but also, of course, importantly, talent acquisition strategy, because talent acquisition is often about customer acquisition, And as we talked about today, you want those customers to be your, if you want those customers to be your employees, and you want those employees to be your ambassadors. And I think that's the way you can succeed over the long term. Thank you so much for sharing your insights and examples with us. We're looking at ways in which people can reach out to you. Do you want to tell a little bit about what Yeet Solutions will continue to be doing as a way of a wrap up?
Yeah. So now we are in different positions of our career. So we are going to do our final grade work. I don't know how you say it in English. For me, I'm going to work more on metaverse and blockchain. And Christina, well, you can.
Yeah, like with all the knowledge and all the work we've done with JIT, which is the company we established and the one we're working with. And now we're this next year we're getting the perspective of being inside a big company. So like being like focused on how to engage Gen Z as a brand. So being inside a big company, I think our perspective of and the things we've worked with and like being Gen Z ourselves can be of a good value to bring the companies we will be working in, not with. So I don't know what the future will bring us, but that's like the next few months.
Yes, what we will be always focused on is on the future and Gen Z trends and how brands can adapt to Gen Z. So metaverse, entrepreneurship, talent acquisition, talent management. We love about talking and helping brands on that topic, even if it's working with them or working in that company. So that I think that will be our future steps.
And I hope also some continued future connection with Korea. Obviously, it's been a really great experience for you being immersed in Korea over the last few months, and RDI will continue to be in Korea. Hopefully there can be some other ways in which we can connect. So once again, thank you everyone for being a part of this session and for joining and having your interest in this particular topic, which we do feel is so important. If you do want to find out more information about what it is we do, please check out our website at rdiuk.com and our specific jobs related site, which is jobs.rdiuk.com. Also, our social media, where we upload all of our webinars and sessions to YouTube, and then continue to share through LinkedIn and other social media platforms. Once again, thank you so much, Christina. Thank you so much, Gloria. This has been Gordon Dudley by RDI. Hope to see everybody again on another session in the near future. Take care.